The story begins by showing a warrior named Yang, who was a member of a clan named Sad Flute. Here, Yang had come to kill the master of their enemy clan. First, Yang kills the enemy clan's warriors in one go, and then kills the master of that clan very easily. Then Yang sees a little girl of the enemy clan's master. Yang thinks of killing her, but seeing the beautiful smile of that girl, his heart melts. Now, because Yang's heart was not filled with so much hatred that he would kill a little girl, he starts leaving from there with that girl. Yang knew that the warriors of his own clan, Sad Flute, would kill that girl because she was the daughter of the enemy clan's master. But as soon as he goes a little far, the warriors of his own clan try to kill that girl, and here, to save that little girl, Yang has to kill his own warriors. He kills his clan's warriors one by one, and then leaves to meet his old friend Smiley in a small city in America called Lord. After a few days, he finally reaches Lord City, where more than half of the houses were broken and very few people lived in that city. Here, Yang first meets a man named Ron, who was a drunkard of the first order. He was always drunk. Yang shows him his friend's photo and asks for his address, on which Adbal tells him that his friend Smiley died 3 years ago and that he used to run a laundry here. Adbal takes Yang to that laundry and leaves. At the same laundry, Yang meets a girl named Lin, who is running that laundry till now. Lin asks him, "How do you know Smiley?" Yang tells her that Smiley was his childhood friend. Then Lin asks him if he came alone with his daughter. Yang tells her that she is not his daughter. Her parents are dead. Lin is very sad to hear this. That is why she names the girl April. Lin tells him that he can stay here, but he will have to help her with the work. Yang says that he does not know how to do this work. Lin says, "It is okay. I will teach you laundry work." The next day, Yang is sitting in the laundry when some boys come there, give him clothes to wash, and also make fun of him. But seeing them doing this, Adbal comes there, drives them away, and takes Yang with him to eat. On the way, Yang sees Lin practicing shooting, and then go ahead to eat. Now, Yang gradually starts to adapt himself to the environment here. He helps Lin with the work and plays with them. Not only this, but he also starts making a flower garden on this barren desert land. Everyone helps him with this, and after a few months, a lot of flowers grow in his garden. Everyone loved the little girl, April, a lot. Living here, Yang now understands how easy it is to destroy anything, but it takes a lot of hard work and time to create that thing. One day, when Yang is playing cards with Adbal, he sees Lin offering flowers on the grave of a 1-year-old child. He asks Adbal whose grave she is offering flowers on. Adbal tells him about Lin, that when Lin was 16 years old, a bandit named Colonel, along with his gang. Adbal tells that on that day, the Colonel had chosen Lin to quench his thirst, while Lin's parents and her younger brother were held captive by the Colonel's men. Now, when Lin is taken to the Colonel, Lin gets a chance and throws the hot oily food being cooked there on the Colonel's face and runs away from there. The Colonel gets furious at this, comes out, and shoots at the running Lin, making her fall down. Due to this, Lin's father runs to her, but then the Colonel shoots and kills him, then kills Lin's mother and her younger brother too. All this was happening in front of Lin's eyes. After this, the Colonel runs away with his men. At the same time, Adbal tells that after this, when they went to bury Lin's family, Lin was still breathing at that time. So, they brought her home, and slowly she got better, but from then on, Lin decided that now she will kill the Colonel and take revenge for her family and all those girls with whom the Colonel had forced himself. After some time, Yang again sees that Lin is practicing shooting, but her aim is not hitting the target, due to which she gets disappointed and says, "I will never be able to become a good shooter." On this, Yang blindfolds her to teach her shooting and stands in front of her as a target. He says, "Listen carefully to the smallest movement of your target and then attack the target," due to which Lin very carefully attacks her target. Yang sees that at that moment, Lin is shooting at the target. Every shot of Lin is right, which makes her very happy. She goes to Yang and thanks him because Yang taught her in a few minutes what she had been trying to do for a long time. That night, Lin tells Yang that Smiley had told her about him, that he was a warrior of the Sad Flute clan and one day would definitely come there. She asks, "Why did you join the Sad Flute clan?" To which Yang tells her, "One day in childhood, when I was working with my father on our farm, a warrior of a clan came there. To check the sharpness of his sword, he beheaded my father in front of my eyes, and from that day, I decided to become the most powerful warrior in the world." After this, Yang shows Lin his sword, which was completely sealed along with the sheath. Here, Yang tells Lin the whole truth about April and says, "If I take out this sword from its sheath, then the souls of all the people I have killed with this sword will start crying. Hearing their cries, the warriors of my own clan, Sad Flute, will come here to kill April." After this, Yang teaches swordsmanship to Lin for many days. Then Christmas Day comes, which they celebrate very happily by dancing and singing. But then the Colonel arrives with his men and starts torturing them. He puts a bucket of water on the head of a man dressed as a joker and shoots at that bucket. Afterward, the colonel places a glass of drink on the man's head. As he is about to shoot the glass, Ron arrives in a drunken state, drinks the drink, and starts making fun of the colonel. This angers the colonel, who orders one of his men to tie Ron behind a horse and drag him around. After this, the colonel takes all the girls in the city to the barn, makes them stand in a line, and starts checking their teeth. During this, he finds a woman with clean and perfect teeth. But since the woman is married, the colonel shoots her along with her husband. Then the colonel's eyes fall on their daughters. He tells his men to bathe and dress them up and bring them to him. After a while, instead of the daughters, Lin comes to the colonel, all dressed up. When the colonel's men leave, Lin takes out her knife and slowly moves toward him. Just as she is about to kill him, the colonel is already standing there, pointing his gun at her. The colonel tells her, "I recognized your scent. You're the same girl from 16 years ago." At the same time, Adbal runs to Yang and tells him Lin has gone alone to kill the colonel. To save Lin, Yang finally has to take out his sword from its sheath. As a result, the master of Sad Flute learns about Yang and starts heading toward him with his warriors. Meanwhile, Lin is captured by the colonel's men, and the colonel is about to force himself on her. Yang arrives and starts killing the colonel's men, cutting them down like carrots and radishes with his sword. Lin tells Yang, "I will kill him with my own hands." Taking advantage of their conversation, the colonel uses Lin as a shield, jumps out of the window, and starts fleeing on horseback. Lin throws a knife at him with force and kills him on the spot. However, they realize that the man killed was not the colonel. The colonel had escaped, deceiving them. After this, Yang tells Lin, "My sword has come out of the sheath. The people of my tribe will be coming here any moment. I have to leave, or you all will die because of me." Hearing this, Adbal tells him, "The colonel has fled and will definitely return with more than double the men to kill us. If you leave, how will we fight him?" A man then asks, "How will we fight the colonel without any weapons?" Adbal points toward Ron and says, "He has something special." Ron asks them to dig up his wife's grave, and in it, they find many weapons hidden by Ron. It turns out Ron's wife had asked him to promise never to pick up a weapon again, but now, out of necessity, Ron has to break his promise. After this, they all begin practicing using the guns. The next day, the colonel is seen approaching with many of his men. Meanwhile, Yang takes out his sword and prepares for battle. Ron, stationed on a high tower, begins aiming at the colonel's men. As the colonel enters the city, Ron shoots at some dynamite, causing an explosion that kills many of the colonel's men. Smoke spreads all around, and Yang starts cutting down the colonel's men. The colonel orders his men to go to the tower and kill Ron. But before they can reach him, Ron uses a rope to climb down, and the dynamite planted by him explodes, killing more of the colonel's men. Amidst this chaos, the master of Sad Flute and the Sad Flute warriors arrive. Everyone becomes terrified. Yang tells Lin and Adbal to take April to a safe place. The Sad Flute warriors then engage in a fierce battle. They attack them while the colonel's men start shooting at the Sad Flute warriors, along with the people of the city. However, there were so many Sad Flute warriors that they began cutting down the colonel's men with their sharp swords. Meanwhile, the Sad Flute warriors chase after April to kill her. To save Lin and April, Yang runs after them, fighting and killing the warriors of his own clan one by one. Seeing Yang fighting like this, the master of Sad Flute becomes very angry with him. After this, Yang and Lin try to hide in a house to protect April, but the Sad Flute warriors find them there and start fighting with Yang. Seeing this, Lin hands April to Adbal and tells him to take April to a safe place. Then, she picks up a sword herself and starts fighting the Sad Flute warriors. When both Yang and Lin emerge after defeating the Sad Flute warriors, they see Adbal injured. Adbal tells them, "The colonel has taken April from me," and dies after saying this. On the other side, the colonel, holding April, enters a house and deploys his men outside for her security. After some time, Sad Flute warriors arrive to kill April, but the colonel's men use an automatic machine gun to kill all of them. After some time, the lights go out. Yang arrives and kills the colonel's men. He then enters the room where the colonel is pointing his gun at April. At the same moment, the colonel fires at April, but Yang cleverly cuts the bullet into two with his sharp sword, saving April and freeing her from the colonel. Afterward, Yang gives Lin the chance to kill the colonel. A fierce fight ensues between Lin and the colonel. First, Lin cuts the colonel's leg with her sword, causing him to fall. Then, she finishes him off with the sword. When Yang and Lin come out of the room, they see the Sad Flute master standing in front of them. He tells Yang, "You have to kill the daughter of the enemy tribe's master with your own hands." Instead of complying, Yang prepares to fight his master. A fierce sword fight takes place between Yang and the Sad Flute master. The Sad Flute master gives Yang a tough fight, but in the end, Yang cuts the master's throat. Before dying, the Sad Flute master tells Yang, Wherever you take this child, Sad Flute's warriors will find you and kill you. After this, Yang comes to Lin, who is carrying April in her arms. Yang tells Lin, "Take care of April because I am leaving from here forever. Only through my sword can the people of Sad Flute find me." Saying this, Yang walks far away from them. A few months later, Yang is seen living in a snowy place. However, Sad Flute warriors come there, forcing Yang to take his sword out of its sheath once again. He gets ready to fight them, and this amazing movie ends. So that's it. Hope you enjoy the story. Subscribe and press the bell icon for more videos.